Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's noon time, and this is the time that we set to have this memorial. So I want to go ahead and start on time and respect everyone's time as we celebrate the life of our father, and for some of you, grandfather, friend, community, business member. Inshallah, let us begin by saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Manal Barakat Fakhouri. I'm the middle child of Adil and Rehab Barakat. And alhamdulillah, it's nice to be able to spend a little time to honor Baba today and to just recount his life, to reflect on all of the great things that he did for so many of us. And for myself, I wanted to also even begin by saying, thank you to my siblings, for Nadal, the rock of our family, the great example that he was, or is, excuse me, for all of us, even growing up, and Adala, like a second mother to all of us. And then there is Abud, God bless you for all of your humor and all of your patience and just how you always bring, so many good things to any gathering. And then Hamada, the youngest, the baby, that we all still think of as our baby. And thank you, Hamada, for command and all your contributions to our family. I love all of you. And I think, when I begin this way, I begin because this is something that Mama and Baba taught us, is family, love. And interestingly, these days, people ask you, many of you have heard this when they say to you, what is your superpower? In growing up in America, because many of you know, and this is mostly family that's with us today, is that we immigrated, and we have that iconic photo in London at Trafalgar Square that many of us have that original photo, and then we reproduced that photo as adults. Is that memory is definitely etched in our minds. And as when we came, we didn't know really exactly what we were going to encounter on this big move across the world, but it didn't really matter because we had Mama and Baba. And back to that superpower, growing up as children, for me personally, I always knew that we had the best mother and father. We didn't live in the fanciest homes. We didn't drive the fanciest cars. We didn't wear designer clothes. But alhamdulillah, I always felt safe, secure, loved more than any other kids. And even, through my high school years and college years, I knew my superpower were our parents. Alhamdulillah for them. Now, what I'd like to do today is we have a full program. There's lots of memories, and there's also a way that we all process grief. Alhamdulillah, I think for me personally, sometimes I have a delayed reaction. Maybe it hasn't completely hit me. Also, many of you, we have tender moments. It hits us at different times. But as believers, as Muslims, we know not to focus on this life, and that this life is really preparation for the akhirah. And so for my own children, for my nieces and nephews, for my siblings, I am, even in my own Islam, I'm still learning on my own journey, strengthening my own faith. But I know at minimum how important the akhirah is, and that again, we learn from the modeling of our parents. So I'd like to begin the program by once again, thanking all of you. I'd like to also ask all of us before we go into this program to go ahead and recite the Fatiha for Baba. So, okay. So if we can go ahead, we'll start. Nadal, the oldest son of Adil Abdulrahman Barakat and Rehab Barakat. Nadal, if you can please take a few minutes, share what you like to share, what's on your heart for Baba.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العظيم. قالوا لي إني أحكي عن أبوي. صراحة أنا مش عارف شو بدي أحكي، لأنه أبوي إذا بدي أحكي بده وقت طويل، ما بكفي الوقت. فأبوي هو والد بكل ما معنى هذه الكلمة من معنى. أبوي هو الصديق ورفيق الدرب من طفولتي حتى وفاته. كان معلمي ومعلم الآخرين، كان موجهي، كان كريما ومعطاء، كان الأب الحليم. شعار الوالد كان خير الناس أنفعهم للناس. The best of people who benefits others. آمن فيه وعمل به ونجح. أحب أحكي لكم حادثة صغيرة صارت مع والدي في أول ما جينا على أمريكا. كنت ألعب في فريق فوتبول في البداية، وكان الفريق راح يروح على كندا، فكان في 2 أخوة بدهم يروحوا، بس واحد من الأخوة ما كان يقدر يدفع تيكت الطيارة، فالوالد تبرع فيها عشان حابب يشوف الولد الثاني أخوه إنهم يروحوا معنا في الفريق لكندا. المهم راحت السنين، فيوما ما والدي عنده مدير أعماله كان رايح يشتري زي ما تقول أغراض للعمارة، فبس ما اشترى البضاعة فسأله لمين أكتب البل يعني وقال له عادل بركات. قال له عادل بركات، هذول اسبانيش كان يحكوا. قال له عادل بركات العربي؟ قال له يس هيز ان عربي. قال إنه هذا فعل معي عمل صالح قبل 25 سنة وأنا بدي أرد له الجميل. على كل حال هاي قصة صغيرة وهاي كانت في بداية أول ما جينا على أمريكا، يعني كانت في البداية. كل ما أشوف أنا خير بشوف أبوي. ما بدي أطول عليكم، أطلب من رب العالمين أن يتغمد في رحمته ويسكن فسيح جنانه. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. رحمات الله تنزل عليك يا أبوي يا غالي. شكرا.
شكرا Nadal. And I wanted to mention كمان إحنا when Baba passed away on July 15th at 4 in the afternoon, he was surrounded by his entire family. Alhamdulillah. Now, inshallah, we will hear a recitation of Quran from Imam. Let me see if I can bring this up correctly so I can introduce him. Okay. The Imam Ahmed Khan is the current Imam of the Miriam Islamic Center in Houston, Texas, where he directs all educational and religious programs. He is a masterful level reciter of the Quran and a graduate from Zaytuna College. So thank you so much, Imam Ahmed Khan, for joining us. And please, if you can begin.
MashaAllah. I want to begin with just giving the family the condolences that, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant your father the highest stations of paradise. And inshallah, we're going to begin with the recitation of the Quran from Surah Al-Ankabut, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا عبادي الذين آمنوا إن أرضي واسعة فإياي فاعبدون. يا عبادي الذين آمنوا كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لنبوئنهم من الجنة من الجنة غرفا تجري من تحتها الأنهار والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لنبوئنهم من الجنة غرفا تجري من تحتها الأنهار من الجنة غرفا تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها نعم أجر العاملين الذين صبروا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون وكأين من دابة لا تحمل رزقها الله يرزقها وإياكم وهو السميع العليم ولئن سألتهم من خلق السماوات والأرض وسخر الشمس والقمر ليقولن الله فأنى يؤفكون الله يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء من عباده ويقدر له إن الله بكل شيء عليم ولئن سألتهم من والشمس والقمر ليقولن الله فأنى يؤفكون الله يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء من عباده ويقدر له إن الله بكل شيء عليم ولئن سألتهم من نزل من السماء ماء فأحيا به الأرض ولئن سألتهم من نزل من السماء ماء فأحيا به الأرض من بعد موتها ليقولن الله قل الحمد لله بل أكثرهم لا يعقلون صدق الله العلي العظيم. Jazakumullah khair for giving me that opportunity, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant your father the highest stations of paradise. And as we recited, kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, that every soul shall taste death. But the beautiful thing is, thumma ilayna turja'un, that we will all return back to our Creator, the most loving, the most majestic. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you so much, Imam Khan. Thank you so much for doing that. And for those of you that are watching, of course, you've realized that these were some of the highlights that we've put together from the funeral. And please, it's my pleasure now to invite our next speaker, Dr. Hatem Bizian. Dr. Bizian is a teaching professor in the departments of Near Eastern and Ethnic Studies at the University of California, Berkeley. Dr. Bizian is an advisor to the Religious, Politics, and Globalization Center at UC Berkeley. In 2009, mashallah, he founded the Islamophobia Research and Documentation Project at UC Berkeley. He's editor-in-chief of the Islamophobia Studies Journal and founder and director of International Islamophobia Studies Consortium. Dr. Bizian is on the board of several organizations, including...
I think it's just too much, just
I'm
Dr.
done.
Hatem.
Dr.
That's
Hatem, Dr.
That's
Muslim, also the Muslim Legal Fund of America and Muslims for Americans in Palestine, for which he's also a founding president. Thank you so much for all of your great work, another pillar in the community, which is why we invited you, because our father, we believe, is also a pillar. Thank you.
Yes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salamu ala khair al-mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. First thing is inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and we always say alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen alladhi la yuhmadu ala su'in siwa. Death is written upon us, as my dear beloved Imam Ahmad Khan have recited for us. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Each soul will taste death. And death is difficult for the living just as much it is for the deceased, is the difficulty of separation, of having someone that was with us and all of a sudden they're not there. But I think for us in here gathering that we're reflecting, خيركم خيركم للناس, it is something that is definitely in appropriate description for the life and for what our brother Adil is all about. The best of you is the best to mankind. And I was just reflecting upon his name. His name is Adil, the just, the one that firmly stands for that which is justice. And I think testimony to both his history, his background coming from Akka in Palestine, having to go through the 48 difficulties and trauma of the Nakba, to the 67, to traveling across the Arab world, Bahrain, Kuwait, then coming all the way to the furthest point on earth, aside from Hawaii, to be here in California, and never leaving that part of our history, our heritage, and our suffering. And everything related to Palestine, he was always there. And when the child of Adam dies, three things remain on his behalf. علم ينتفع به, useful knowledge. And I know that he wrote and contributed in so many different ways in the past through his journalistic career. Also being one of the pillars, early pillars of Arab journalists in the West. And we had a long tradition of that, of actually contributing and writing. Earlier today, I was speaking about Khalil Gibran, where he wrote his poetry out from New York and Boston. We think of some other figures, even in relations to some of our intellectuals. They contributed tremendously in this country. And then thinking about the last name, Barakat, not only one Baraka, but the plural of Barakat. And in essence, constantly having Sadaqah Jariyah. And I would say that every part of the community, both in California, the US, and even in Palestine, have benefited from his many barakat. This is what we say in Arabic, ism ala musamma, that a name that corresponds to that which is named. And that is really one of the, if you are a person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows his blessings upon you, that you actually manifest your own name. And as such, to reflect upon his many sadaqah jariyah. And I know the garden in the Zaytuna is part of that Barakat family sadaqah jariyah, that anyone that will eat the fruit from now till eternity, until the trees are there, will be reflective of that barakat that is there. And then children that will do a dua on your behalf. Waladun salih, meaning, and in here walad could be both your immediate but also the extended family and all those in the community. And I know that we have many that were offering du'as and supplication on his behalf. So that is really the true blessing. And even in the difficulties that we're facing, these are the hidden blessings that if we want to enumerate the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are unable to actually measure it. And I think there is that hidden blessing of offering dua after one's passing. So let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to expand his rewards. As he left the temporal world, we do believe that this continuation of blessings extends to the hereafter. I do like to offer a long dua on his behalf, and it's an Arabic dua, so you could do ta'meen for him, inshallah. And this is, for us, he's a pillar of the Palestinian in diaspora. He returned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I know that his heart, his mind, and much of his existence and the Barakat family is still connected to our homeland in Palestine. And hopefully, inshallah, once we return, we will offer a prayer not only for Adil, but all those who died outside of Palestine, to have a gathering in Al-Aqsa where we offer prayers for all those who have lived, struggled, continue to struggle in diaspora, waiting for the moment to return. It's a return that will happen. It's just a matter of time. We ask Allah to make it possible for us to witness it. That's the only thing that is in doubt, whether we will be witnessing it or not. But rest assured that we will be returning, inshallah. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. اللهم إن هذا عبدك عادل عبد الرحمن بركات أبو جهاد هو عبدك وابن عبدك وابن أمتك خرج من روح الدنيا وسعتها وأحباؤه فيها إلى ظلمة القبر وما هو لاقيه. اللهم إنه عبدك وابن عبدك وابن أمتك مات وهو يشهد بالله الوحدانية ويشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله، ونحن نشهد أنه كان من الصالحين المؤمنين في هذه الدنيا وهو في علمنا كما نعلمه يا الله. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تظله تحت عرشك يوم لا ظل إلا ظلك ولا باقي إلا وجهك. اللهم بيض وجهه يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه. اللهم يمن كتابه وثبت قدمه يوم تزل فيها الأقدام يا رب العالمين. اللهم اكتبه عندك من الصالحين. اللهم اكتبه عندك من الصالحين. اللهم اكتبه عندك من الصالحين. وإنا نشهد أنه كان بيننا من الصالحين واكتبه من الصديقين. وإنا نشهد الله أنه من الصديقين والشهداء والأبرار. اللهم اكتبه عندك من الصابرين وجازه جزاء الصابرين يا الله يا رحيم. اللهم زده يقينا وحبا في لقائك ومتع عينه برؤية ملائكتك مستبشرين به ومستبشرا بهم يا الله. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تغفر له وترحمه يا رب العالمين. اللهم واعف عنه وعافه واكرم نزله ووسع مدخله واغسله بماء وثلج وبرد ونقه من الخطايا كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك أن تقه من فتنة القبر وعذاب النار يا رب العالمين. اللهم تجاوز عنه. اللهم تجاوز عنه. اللهم تجاوز عنه. اللهم يسر عليه أمره وسهل عليه ما بعده واسعده بلقائك يا رب العالمين. واجعل ما خرج إليه خيرا مما خرج منه يا رحيمنا يا الله يا الله. لا تصعب عليه أصغر صغيرة ولا أكبر كبيرة. هون عليه في القبر وتحت الأرض وفرحه بلقائك يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تدخله الجنة. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تدخله الجنة من غير مناقشة ولا حساب ولا سابقة عذاب. اللهم أنسه في وحدته وأنس وحشته يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نتوسل به إليك ونقسم به عليك أن ترحمه ولا تعذبه وأن تثبته عند السؤال يا رب العالمين. اللهم عامله بما أنت أهله ولا تعامله بما هو أهله، واجره عن الإحسان إحسانا وعن الإساءة عفوا وغفرانا. اللهم إن كان محسنا فزده من حسناته، وإن كان مسيئا فتجاوز عن سيئاته يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارزقه الجنة واجمعه مع نبيك يا رب العالمين. اللهم اطعمه من الجنة واسقه من الجنة وقل له ادخل من أي باب تشاء يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجمعنا معه على حوض نبيك يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجمعه معنا على حوض نبيك يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجمعه على الحوض مع نبيك يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجمعنا معه ومع نبيك على الحوض يا رب العالمين. اللهم ألهم أهله الصبر على الفراق. اللهم ألهم أهله على الفراق. اللهم ألهم أهله الصبر على الفراق. اللهم ألهم أهله الصبر على الفراق. اللهم ألهم أهله الصبر على الفراق يا رب العالمين. إنه كان لكتابك تاليا وسامعا فشفع فيه القرآن يا رب العالمين. وارحمه وتجاوز عنه واجعله يا رحمن يرتقي في الجنة إلى آخر آية قرأها أو سمعها وآخر حرف تلاه يا رب العالمين. اللهم اسكنه فسيح جنانه. اللهم اسكنه فسيح جنانك. اللهم اسكنه فسيح جنانك يا رحمن يا رحيم يا رحمن يا رحيم يا رحمن يا رحيم. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسلم لك أخانا عادل عبد الرحمن بركات أبو جهاد، وننتظر لقاءه في جمع معنا إن شاء الله في الجنة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alhamdulillah, and thank you so much for all of the great dua. Next, we have my brother Abud or Abdulrahman Barakat. Abud is the fourth child, and alhamdulillah, Abud acquired from my father, from my Baba. He's the one that reminds me the most of my dad when it comes to his humor, his ability to connect with people, just easy, fun to be around, and very much like my father was. And actually in the hospital, in the ICU, when we were trying to check if he was still with us, and the nurse would speak to him, and I would say to her, normally he would be kidding with you right now. He would be joking with you, because that was my Baba's personality. So if we were gonna have a few minutes of reflection from Abdul Rahman. Abud, Faddal.
Thank you, Rahmatullah alayhi. This is a very emotional page in the chapters of our life, and Allah samahni if I make a mistake, please forgive me. I was asked to cover very basic information of my father. My father, Allah yarhamu, was born in the coastal city of Akka, coastal city of Palestine, Akka, Palestine, and 1931, October of 1931. He was the second son of my grandfather, whom I'm named after, and the first son of the second wife. The first wife had passed, and he remarried my grandmother. Her name is Shahla. And in order, there was Abdul Razak, who was from the first marriage. Of course, there was my father, Adil, known as Abu Nadab. Ammi Adnan, affectionately and loved by many, loved by all, as Abu Muhammad. There is Ammi Walid, Allah yarhamu, he passed. Everybody loves Ammi Khalid, Captain Khalid Abu Ayman. And I think I mentioned Ammi Samih, the highly beloved, mashallah. Of course, there was 5 daughters, 5 sisters that he had, you know. There was Ahmad, Amti Atifa, Allah yarhamha, Amti Nahida, Amti Nahla, God bless her, and also known as Rafat, also Muhammad. As many of you know and many of you don't know, is he studied in the Anabta school system. He finished high school, however, in Fidelia in Tulkarem. And he later graduated from the Egyptian Faculty of Journalism, and he pursued journalism for the early part of his formidable years. He did also work as a school teacher. And for as long as I can remember, my dad was sharper than the sharpest of sharp men. I can recall, you'll forgive me, I'm maybe going off script, but I recall once being with my dad and we were meeting with a real estate broker, and the broker's trying to encourage the deal and close it. And anytime numbers would come up, the broker would have to refer to his fancy calculator, but Baba, he knew it like that. Before the guy could input the data, he already knew the numbers. He worked in journalism, as I said, and I remember he received quite a bit of acknowledgement for one particular piece that he wrote for BOAC, which is the British Overseas Airline Service, and they had the country where he was in acquired the latest airplane, and my father wrote how smooth the flight was, that indeed he took the coin and was able to place it on the tray, and while in flight the coin didn't move, it stood upright. Interestingly enough, on June 30th, Rolls-Royce released a commercial, and guess what they did? Just 2 weeks ago, they opened the hood, and while the engine's running, they placed a coin on top of the engine to show just how smooth it is. And I said, Baba, you had that back in 1962, man. They copied you. He came to California after the 67 war. We arrived in January 69 in Los Angeles. And we briefly lived in a very modest 2-bedroom home. The girls had 1 bedroom, mom and dad, and Hamada was 2 years old, so they shared a bedroom. And Adal and I, we had the biggest room. It was the living room. And it was, I'm very proud of that, you know, because nothing was handed to my father. He made his own circumstances. In closing, I'll just to show how pragmatic he was and how what's the word I'm looking for? Someone who is not looking for any privilege and no entitlement. That's the word I'm looking for. He has absolutely no entitlement. He said to me, Baba, take me to the bank. This was circa 2009. Okay, so we go to the bank. We walk into the bank. And he sees that the interest rate is very low and he's not receiving what he expects to receive. So he says, okay, Baba, take me home. So I take him home. He gets busy for the next 2 hours and then he says, okay, Baba, dabbir zrufak, prepare your things. بدنا نسافر على فلوريدا Monday till الاثنين. So okay, خير شو في. He bought a few homes over the phone, sight unseen, and he basically, we went there, we fixed them up. They were very inexpensive at the time. The economy was what it was. And he created basically, there were 10 homes. He found 10 people that agreed to do rent to own. And all he took was $800 a month for 10 years. And then he would sell them the house for $1, interest free. During those 10 years, he was responsible for the maintenance of the roof and the taxes. But how beautiful is that? Because if you put it all together, he created what is basically his own annuity, right? He put in approximately $30,000, and in 10 years, it over time paid $96,000, which is a bargain for the buyer. And there's now 10 families in Florida that own a home free and clear, and they paid nothing down and very, very little more than the average rent. I think the average rent was $780. And he was getting $800, zero interest. So this is what he did. He was pragmatic. He didn't feel sorry for himself. And he always expected us, like, why do you feel you're entitled to this or to that? You have to go and make your own way. This is my father. I love him very much. Allah yarhamu. And there's no words to describe how I feel, but forgive me if I've gone too long. Thank you.
Shukran Abud, thank you. And you know, in remembering Baba, he started his life in America, in LA, in California, and then we moved to Moorpark, California, where he passed away, where we have created a family. But what I want to share with everyone is, especially for children and grandchildren, when your parents invite you to go somewhere, I don't know why, but of the 5 kids, I was the one that came to Moorpark with them when they were checking out Moorpark. And there was a time when we all, the only family, the only Arabs, the only Muslims that were in Moorpark was our small family. And mashallah, if you see now what has happened and all the families that have benefited. So that is a great reminder to us of how one person can make a difference. So the next thing we have, please, is we want you to enjoy a slideshow that is a memorial from Baba's life. And then we'll hear from another brother and then finish up with the grandkids. Thank you so much. You can see, alhamdulillah, Baba lived a beautiful life, a full life, full of so many beautiful memories. Alhamdulillah for that. My sister Adala has decided not to speak. She's too emotional, but we're going to ask my youngest brother, Muhammad, who always had the gift of communication and oration. He's the person that we always ask to MC every event. Alhamdulillah, Hamada, the baby of our family. If you can please give us some comments on Baba.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, to everyone around the world, including in Palestine and Jordan. It's a strange thing. I have always, from a young age, been attracted to the date of July 15. I have no idea why. I always somehow was just attracted to this date. In my mind, it was maybe the halfway point of the year. I couldn't explain it. I never knew my father would pass on July 15. It's amazing. July 15 was a day of great loss. My brother Nadal lost his companion. He lost his companion. My sister Adala, she lost her counterpart, the scale of justice, Adil and Adala. Abdulrahman lost his inspiration. My sister Manal, she lost the atmosphere. And me, I lost an idea. One of the joys of fatherhood is that you get to introduce the world to your children. For a period of time, you are the sole source of information to them. You get to control what your children hear, see, and taste. For example, my daughter Hannah believed for many years that I was the inventor of chewing gum. And one day in 4th grade, she came home and she said, "Baba, you didn't invent chewing gum." My son Adam believed I was the inventor of rap music and weightlifting. As a child, I watched my father bring the world to me. My father brought the world to me. We lived in a small town of 3,000 people, and he would safir. He would go away to a big, mysterious city called Los Angeles. And he would not return till late at night, maybe 11 p.m. And he would wake up Aboud and I, and we would emerge from our warm beds, and we would watch Baba come into the house with bags and bags of groceries. And we'd take the groceries out with all these wonderful Middle Eastern foods and spices. And our favorite was the bastarma, which is dried beef and very, very spicy. And Baba would warn Aboud and I not to eat too much, or else we would not be able to sleep. And I remember sitting in the kitchen with Aboud and Baba eating bastarma sandwiches as midnight was approaching. When I was in 4th grade, I came home from school and I saw Baba there with a big and suspicious smile on his face. And I said, "What's up?" And he was holding a brown and round object in his hand. And he lifted up the object like this. And Baba said, I said, "That's a coconut." And Baba said, "Yes, you're right, this is a coconut. And today we're going to drink from it." So we spent the next 20 minutes trying to pierce the hard shell of the coconut. And finally we punched the hole. And Baba lifted the coconut above my head and he told me to open my mouth. And the coconut milk started to pour inside my mouth, and the Baba couldn't control the coconut. It was a wild coconut, and the coconut started to splash on my nose, on my eyes, in my hair. And I was confused. And then Baba tried to drink the coconut himself, and soon the coconut was splashing on his face and his nose, his eyes. And when we finished, we looked at each other, covered in coconut milk. It was a good day. A happy memory, you know? So, alhamdulillah. What I wanted to tell you is my father did not invent the world, but he invented my world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hamada. And what I wanted to we're starting to go towards the end of the program today, and I want to thank you all for coming and joining and celebrating Baba's life with us. Baba had 18 grandchildren and 23 great-grandchildren, mashallah. So we're going to hear from a few of them. And I'd like to begin, and I think the way there's only a few of them that will speak today, and we have them in order. So if I can please ask Mahmoud Hafiz to begin. And this is 1 to 2 minutes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Allah yarham Sido. When I first heard the news, I was surprised by my reaction. I went up to my bedroom and I started to cry, which is not an unusual reaction when someone passes away. But I was surprised because I truly thought I was ready. I had come to terms that this was going to happen. And of course, as Muslims, the big prize is always a hereafter. So I felt comforted in that as always. But for Sido's case, I felt extra comforted in that because after all the hardships he had the last few years, you know, it was nice for me to think about now he'll be in Jannah and he'll be his true self. So I thought that I would be okay, but I was crying. So I wanted to stop feeling sad. So immediately I turned to photos. And when I started looking at the photos, I have so many photos of Sido, and when I was looking at them, so many memories came rushing back, and I started to laugh. And that is not a normal reaction when someone dies, I don't think. You know, so I was surprised. Why am I laughing? So I felt a little bit bad about it. You know, why am I laughing right now? I shouldn't be laughing. But then I remembered, I said, man, he made me laugh. Now I owe him $25. So Sido, he was a character. Mr. Eduardo, as Teterita would call him, Allah yarhamha. And I always heard, you know, Sido was very tough. You know, he was a strong father. He's a pillar of the community. He's a shrewd businessman. While all of these things are true, the thing I remember is that he loved life. And that's one thing I really tried to take from him. He loved life and he always lived it to the fullest. And always the jokes. Hey man, we went to school together. And everybody my age will all remember what our mothers said about us. We even know what the people in San Diego thought about us. So I loved all the jokes, and he was very, very quotable. He had so many great quotes, and you know, he thought deeply about life. And he made always funny, but always good life lessons. You can ask my mom next time you see her, ask her what Sido would joke when someone wanted to borrow money. Or you can ask Ammu Hamada what he told him when he was running late to his own wedding. Or even my wife, Janan, the first day she met him, how he made everybody laugh at our tulba. You can ask her what he said. So really, Sido, we love you very much. We can't wait to see you again in Jannah. See you in Jannah in your true form. No more wheelchair, no more hospitals. And with everybody you love and full health, and we'll all be together again. We love you, Sido.
Shukran, Mahmoud. Thank you. And Mahmoud is the eldest of Adal's sons. And next we have Muhammad, Nadal's oldest son. Muhammad Barakat. Faddal. So Muhammad, if you want to unmute yourself.
She has the wrong Muhammad Barakat. She has to look for the different Muhammad Barakat.
Oh, okay. And next will be Adil. And if it's easier, if we need to skip, we can rotate again. So Adil or Muhammad Barakat.
Assalamu alaikum, Adil Barakat here. So I'll go ahead. I don't think my brother's available right now. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My grandfather accomplished many things in his fulfilling life. Many of these accomplishments were in his community, in his career, and can you guys hear me? Sorry. Many of these accomplishments were in his community, in his career, and for his great country of Palestine. I believe his greatest accomplishment, though, was the family he raised and left behind. He raised his 5 kids, my father, 2 uncles, and my 2 aunts, to be educated, hardworking, proud, respectful, generous, passionate, simple, courageous, strong, creative, honest, kind, kind and God-fearing. From his 5 children, there are 18 grandchildren, myself and my 17 cousins. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say we are proud to bear the names Barakat, Hafiz, and Fakouri. From Sido's 18 grandchildren, there are 24 great-grandchildren and counting. At this point, you can see where I'm going. Sido's influence will be felt for many generations, inshallah. When I imagine our family tree, I see Sido Adil and I see Teta Rita as the roots that have grown into a large, beautiful tree with a thick and strong trunk. Many branches of different curvatures and length, leaves of different colors and textures, fruits of different taste and weight. Sido is not a man who just offered the same advice and guidance to each of us. He knew everyone and He knew everyone was different and approached us all as individuals. He inspired us all uniquely. For that, I'm forever grateful. With anything that is built in life, it starts and must have a solid foundation to survive. Alhamdulillah, I say confidently, the foundation my Sido has built will stand the test of time. Thank you, Allah yarham.
Thank you, Adil. Next, we'll go to Nawal, and Nawal is my oldest daughter.
Thank you, Mom, and thank you everyone for being here. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am so touched and moved by getting to experience Sido not only throughout the last 31 years, but especially in the last 48 hours. The opportunity to hear how everyone speaks about him has given me so much to reflect on when I think about what we all are capable of doing and how we all can continue to represent our amazing Sido. As my mom said, I am the eldest of the Florida cousins. So while we didn't have as many opportunities to make daily memories with our Sido, all of those small moments became very big, meaningful memories for each of the 5 of us Fahuris. Sido was represented by a lot of things, whether it was his Hawaiian shirts, that he was his Florida uniform. He didn't walk through Florida without a Hawaiian t-shirt. Whether it was the kumquat tree that he planted in front of our home in Florida that we would live around as kids every season, or whether it was the flea market, which we would get lost in for hours as Sido convinced everyone that he was related to Leonardo DiCaprio. Sido was incredible. He was humorous. He was generous. One of my favorite stories that I tell my mom every now and then when I need a good laugh is Sido's generosity would show up in the most random, beautiful, authentic ways. I remember sharing a bathroom with him at 13 years old when he would visit, and he saw all my contact solution out on the table. And he asked me in his very Sito way what the heck was all of this. And I said, Sito, I don't have good eyes. I have to wear contacts every single day to be able to see. And he went into his bedroom and he came out and he handed me a check for $2,000 and said, go fix them, which I felt like only happened in the movies when you saw that much money on a check. And I ran to my mom. I was like, what do I do with this? And I learned last year that actually only fixes one eye, but it was still the idea of what Sito represented, which was just so, so incredible in so many small and big ways. There are two things that I've been reflecting on a lot when I think about what Sito provided everyone who's been talking about him. And it's that Sito provided each of us with roots and wings. Sito was stability. He was home. He was foundational. But he wasn't just somebody who held on to us. He allowed every single one of us to fly. He gave all of us wings. He gave us all growth. He gave us a sense of possibility. He allowed us to stretch to places that he wasn't even sure if he could stretch. And this is, for better or worse, my second time going through something like this and losing somebody really distant from a location, but meaningful to me and close in my heart. And with my beautiful Tita Rita, I remember being very young, and I remember being in English class a few weeks before she passed. And I came across this very simple poem that I read when we were doing something similar in a room of immediate family. And it's called The Plan of the Master Weaver. My life is but a weaving between the Lord and me. I may not choose the colors, he knows what they should be. For he can view the pattern upon the upper side, while I can see it only on this, the underside. Sometimes he weaves in sorrow, which seems so strange to me, but I will trust his judgment and work on faithfully. 'Tis he who fills the shuttle and he who knows what's best. So I shall weave in earnest and leave him to the rest. Not till the loom is silent and the shuttles cease to fly, shall God unroll the canvas and explain the reason why. The dark threads, they are as needed in the weaver's skillful hand, just as the threads of gold and silver in the pattern he has planned. Thank you so much to everyone for allowing me to experience more and more Sito through you. And I hope we all live through his legacy and make him proud every single day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Noel. I had to mute myself. I think next we have Nasser. Nasser, if you could please share your comments, Habibi. And Nasser is Aboud and Imani's oldest son.
Assalamu alaikum. This morning I was going through my closet, which shirt I should wear. I had a nice button-up shirt in mind, and then I saw this shirt, and I thought, what better shirt for Sito than a shirt that says Aloha. So Sito was a man who touched so many. That was apparent to me throughout my life, and I hear stories of how he worked alongside Cesar Chavez, to all of his philanthropic things that he did, diverse. But in the last few weeks, it really shed a light onto the impact he's had on so many people, just hearing all of the, speeches and memories and stuff like that. It's been very touching for me. And in the end, it's very apparent that Sito was a man who was about helping. He was about serving God, and he did that through helping humanity. So there's not really much to say that hasn't been said. I'm very proud to be a Barakat, and all of that has to do with Sito and Aman Adal and my dad and Amto Adala, Amto Manal, and everyone else. Sito built a community, and like Adil said, it will stand this test of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasser. And next, if we can please hear from Nasser's younger brother, Aboud's son, Jamal.
Thank you, Amto. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Jamal Barakat. I am my grandfather's 13th grandchild. And I'd like to recite a poem I wrote this morning. A little bit of context. A little more than 250 years ago, the famed American poet Walt Whitman wrote one of his most famous pieces titled, "O Captain, My Captain," to immortalize Abraham Lincoln upon his death. And now I will share my rendition in honor of my beloved grandfather. And it's titled, "O Sido, My Sido." Bismillah. O Sido, my Sido, your time on earth is done. The dunya has passed you, your legacy has been won. Allah is near, in prayers we hear, people left in mourning, while memories we share beam bright and true and roaring. But oh heart, 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 oh the warmth of your laugh, wherein this gaping void, pain's darkness joins this path. O Sido, my Sido, rise up and hear the adhan. Rise up, yet still, for the blessed Yom Al-Qiyam. For you, life's riches was service, and your time was well spent. For your village prospered and flourished upon your toil and sweat. Here, Sido, dear grandfather, your wisdom lives on in your stead. It is not lost nor forgotten, though your body now joins the dead. My Sido does not answer, and his soul has returned to God. My grandfather feels no more pain. He grins up above and nods. His family is rooted deeply, and our work has just begun. We proceed on without our leader, as his mission is not yet done. Praise be to the one Almighty who allowed his light to shine. He walked this earth so boldly with the heart of a lion. Praise be to the one Almighty who allowed his light to shine. He walked this earth so boldly, my dear Sido of mine. Jazakumullah khair, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you, Jamal. We just have 3 more grandkids with 3 short comments. So please, Malak, who's my 4th daughter or 4th child. Malak Habibti, tfaddali.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Without fancy transitions or a programmed speech, I'm just going to go ahead and share some sporadic memories of Sido as they come to me. And actually, one of my earliest memories of him was when Tayta Allah yarhamha passed away. I was about 6 years old. And I had a dream that I was walking into a white home and everything was bright and beautiful. And she was sitting at the head of a long oval table. And I was so excited to see her. Because I was just understanding that she had passed away, so I was surprised to have seen her in my dream. She was wearing a white or a pearl-colored jacket with a long skirt, and she was looking down at a picture, and she was crying. And I said, "Why are you crying, Tayta?" And she didn't say anything, but she looked at me, and she turned the photo towards me, and it was a picture of Sido. I'm 26 years old now. So that memory stayed with me for 2 decades. And so now when I reflect on Sido, I remember that was one of the earliest ones. And I would, now that I think about his life, I remember hearing the doorbell ring in Florida, and I would run to the door and he'd be wearing a Hawaiian shirt and a straw hat, and he'd have the gold Ferrero Rocher chocolates with him, and we'd be so excited to see him. And he was such a legendary man for us from such a young age. We had so much love and admiration and respect for him. And now as I grow older and I see more about his character, it reminds me how people used to comment on the Prophet ﷺ, and they would say, you know, we traveled to the Emperor of Persia and to Rome, and we've never seen someone who's treated that the way Muhammad ﷺ is treated by his companions, and they obey him and they rush to fulfill his commands. And in a similar aspect, I saw the love that especially the siblings and my cousins we had for Sido, and seeing that respect that you have for someone elevates the honor they have in your eyes and how much love you have for them. I will never forget the special nickname he gave me when my family went to Japan and I was young. So they were babysitting me, him and Tita Rita, they'd come home. And I heard something about Japan come on the news. So instantly I started to miss my family and I started crying. And he said, "Don't cry, you're the queen of Japan." And so that's stuck with me ever since then. Every time he would call me, I would just crack up from his jokes. And I am indebted to him more than $25 for all the time he made me laugh. And just seeing his religiosity carry out in so many aspects. When he couldn't make wudu properly, he would just take the water and throw it on his foot so that he was still making the effort and the intention to fulfill the commands of God and to honor his pledge to him. And I pray that we can honor his legacy and be as great believers and humanitarians as he was.
Thank you, Malak Habibti. Okay, and let's go to Layla. Layla is my youngest daughter, our youngest child. Layla.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you, everyone, for being here and for this program. I'm very grateful to get to speak. A lot of my family may have not heard my voice very much because growing up, I've always been very shy, but alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful and happy to speak about Sito. I didn't prepare much to do this because I talk about Sito so often and to so many people that a lot of these stories are going to come from my heart and not just my mind. Like my older sister Noel and Melek mentioned earlier, we are the only ones on Teta and Sito's side to have moved to Florida. And growing up and thinking about that, I was always so disappointed that we were missing out on time to see our aunts and our uncles and our cousins, and especially Sito. And so I always felt very distant in that way. And just every time we were going to California, I was so excited, especially to see Sito. And so being in Florida, like I said, made me feel that distance, but it also helps me reflect on the fact that all of the memories we had with Sito are so special and unique. And specifically being the youngest, Sito and I had a lot of great opportunities together and memories that we shared that are kind of just two things between us, secrets between us that I'm really grateful to get to share today. So I want to tell you about two lessons that Sito taught me in my life that are foundational to who I am now and really drive my passions and my journey in life. The first one is about Palestine and the second one is about service. So I was just telling this story to my cousins Nadia and Hannah, sorry, yesterday. And when I was little, everyone was kind of confused by the fact that I was like already an activist for Palestine. Like it happened at a really young age. People always ask, how do you already know so much about Palestine? Where are you getting your knowledge from? Where are you getting your passion from? And the answer has always been Sito. So when I was a little girl during the second Intifada, I was in a hotel with my family and Sito was with us. And he was watching the news sitting on the edge of a bed. And I remember just seeing this very iconic image on the news of a young Palestinian boy who had a tire that was on fire and was rolling it towards the soldiers. And I remember just seeing this young boy getting shot at by soldiers and tanks and all of these crazy machinery. And I remember just being so confused and wondering, like, how is this equal? How is this just? How is this fair? Like, what? I don't understand the story here. And so that's when Sito really told me first about Palestine. And that's when I first learned about Palestine and it became something that was really etched into my heart that I cared so much about. And from that very young age, it really drove my love and my fight for Palestine. So I appreciate him so much for teaching me resistance, for teaching me about justice. And that's gonna be a torch that I carry on for the rest of my life. A second lesson that I mentioned was about service. And this was a very special memory that I had with Sito this day as a whole, because it was one of the only times I got to spend with Sito by myself as a young girl. And it was when he picked me up from soccer practice while we were in Ocala, Florida. And he took me to Burger King right after soccer practice, which not the best decision making, but it was something that I looked forward to after practice because it was right next to the fields. So while we were there, we were ordering French fries and chicken nuggets and really everything that they had to offer. And I remember the cashier, when she checked us out, Cito looked at her and then looked at me, and he was like, "Cito, did you know that I went to driving school with her?" And I was just like, no, I didn't know that. And I was just so confused, but I went with it. And so I just like had that so heavy on my mind, wondering, like trying to logic through this and figure out how Cito went to driving school with this high schooler in Ocala. And so I was just sitting there eating my fries and my chicken, and I finally had to say something without being rude. I tried to be as polite as possible. And I was like, "Cito, you're really old and she's really young. You live in California. She lives in Ocala. How did you go to driving school with her?" Mind you, I was like 6 or 5. Logic really wasn't a thing for me at the time. But Cito told me that her service to us was giving us French fries and giving us chicken, and our service to her was bringing her joy and smiles and laughter. And so that's something that I really have taken with me, that in your interactions with people, no matter if they're close to you, no matter if they're strangers, Cito would always be the person who would try to create a joy and a light and a happiness in a room. And that's something that I want to model more in my life, and something that is constantly on my mind. So alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful for, again, the 2 passions, the 2 paths and journeys that Cito put me on in terms of my justice work and my advocacy work, as well as my service to others and my love for others. So thank you again for letting me speak. I love Cito so much, and I'm so happy to have had all of these experiences with him.
Thank you, Layla. And we're going to go to our final speaker, and then we'll close with a dua from Imam Zaid Shakir. But if this is now the youngest grandchild, Omar Barakat, Abud and Imani's youngest child. Omar?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today I'm going to be playing a piano piece that symbolizes
Omar, we can't hear you. If we can please unmute Omar.
Hello?
I can hear him.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear him.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead and begin.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today I'm going to be playing a piano piece that symbolizes strength, boldness, and love. This song I'll be playing today is symbolic of Cito Adil, his morals, and the life he lived. Thank you.
Shukran. Thank you, Omar. So now we're going to go to our closing with a dua, and we are so fortunate and thankful that Imam Zaid Shakir will be doing this for us. He is the co-founder of Zaytuna College. He's a prominent American Muslim scholar. He's taught courses in Arabic, Islamic spirituality, contemporary Muslim thought, Islamic history and politics, and Shaykh Fiqh at the college. He speaks and writes on a wide range of topics, and he also travels frequently across the United States to support institution building projects in the Muslim community. He is known as the People's Imam. In 2016, he presided over the public memorial of the late great champion Muhammad Ali. Thank you so much, Imam. If you could please close us out with a dua.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of the Barakat family, all of your friends, loved ones, supporters, fellow travelers in the journey that was piloted by your beloved Sidu Adil Barakat. May Allah bless him and elevate him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfume his grave. May Allah expand his grave. May Allah make his grave a garden from the gardens of paradise. May Allah open a window in his grave and he can gaze at his place in paradise through that window. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of the family. It's really moving to hear the greatest testimony to a legend. And that's the people whose lives that he has shaped most intimately. And listening to the family members express their love, express their appreciation, articulate the ways that their lives have been touched and shaped and molded, the way that they've been inspired to go out and do great things in the world, be that advocating for the voiceless of Palestine, be that helping to continue an incredible project like Zaytuna College, be that in just being a better child, parent, husband, wife, all of those incredible words of inspiration are extremely moving, and I'm honored to be a part of that in a small way. I can only say that Adil Barakat lives on. He lives on through all of you. He lives on through the words of wisdom that he imparted unto you and that all of you act upon. He lives on in the orchards. In our case, your family's case, your incredible orchard, one of which I experienced, the avocado orchard in Southern California. He lives on in the incredible orchard that he funded and founded at Zaytuna College, a beautiful, beautiful garden of fruit and flowers that not only provide nourishment, and we're harvesting those fruits this season, but the neighbors are inspired. The neighbors are inspired, and they see the greatness of Islam as a religion that not only preaches or is concerned with theological matters, not only a religion that is concerned with social matters, not only a religion that's concerned with cultural matters, and the beautiful piano rendition is a beautiful manifestation of that culture, but also is concerned about beauty. And that beautiful orchard of fruits and flowers lets our neighbors know that this religion is a religion of beauty. And it's very appropriate, I think, to conclude by reminding myself and reminding all of you that you had a beautiful grandfather, a beautiful father, a beautiful man, and pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. if you have any concern about his fate, just remember one prophetic expression, Inna Allah Jameel Yuhibbul Jamal, that Allah is beautiful and loves beauty. And Adil Barakat was a beautiful man. And in that he was a beautiful man, he's beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah Jameel Yuhibbul Jamal. Allah is beautiful and he loves beautiful. He loves beauty. He loves Jamal also, Jamal Barakat. May he follow in his grandfather's footsteps. Barakallahu fikum, yataqabbal minkum, wa zadakum Allahu fi kulli khair. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع عندنا ولا فينا ولا معنا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة. اللهم بارك على أهل بركات وعلى رأسهم الشيخ عادل بركات. بارك له يا الله، تقبل منه يا الله. يا الله تقبل حسناته وضعف حسناته وجاوز عن سيئاته إن كانت، وزده في قبره يا الله، وسع له في قبره يا الله، عطر قبره يا الله، وسع قبره يا الله، واجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنة يا الله، وافتح له يا الله نافذة هو يرى خلالها مكانه في الجنة يا الله، وابعثه يا الله يوم القيامة مع زمرة النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين، وحسن أولئك رفيقا، وحسن أولئك رفيقا، وحسن أولئك رفيقا. اللهم بارك على أولاده وعلى أحفاده وعلى أقاربه وعلى بناته وعلى أبنائه وعلى كل من يعرفه يا الله. بارك لهم جميعا يا الله في هذه الحياة وبعد الممات. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم.
Thank you so much for that. And I wanted to thank everyone that joined us today. I know there's a few people that wanted to make comments, but you're welcome to use the memorial page on Facebook to leave your comments. We're reading all of them. And if anyone is wondering how you can help, I would say love your family, love your community, love humanity, work for justice, work to help liberate Palestine. That is the best honor that we can give to my father, my mother, to all of us. So those are the messages. That's the wasiyah, is that we all work for a better life and to remember, to also remember Allah. So thank you so much for joining us again on behalf of the family. And my name is Minna Al-Fakhuri. I'm Barakat Fakhuri. So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.